Hey, how's it going? What a week it's been. I hope you're doing well, um, as well as you can be at this time. Um, this is another week of astrology, God willing, and we're going to get right into it. I was going to thank God that He will give us the wisdom and understanding that we need to look into these heavenly mysteries to the glory of His name. In Jesus' name, amen. So, thanks for coming back. Thanks for subscribing to my channel. I saw I had a couple new subscribers. If you're subscribed to my channel at all, thank you. That helps me as I grow this channel for probably still keeping it the same way that it's probably going to stay the same way no matter how big I get, but it's definitely fun that I'm getting views. But anyway, yeah, what a week. I've had a lot of thoughts that I've been wanting to express, but I've been afraid that, as soon as I get to recording, I'll forget everything that I wanted to talk about. But um, let's see if any of that comes to my mind real quick before we get into the week proper. So, one thing that I've been thinking about. So we've had the Mars Mercury Saturn square this past week, and the moon is building up to the lunar eclipse, right? And there will be a solar eclipse in Sagittarius. And I don't know. I guess I just want to complain. I want to complain a little bit because I'm just so tired of this Saturn and Aquarius stuff. I'm so tired of the mundane astrology that we've been going through, at least where I live. Saturn has been in the first house. Mars is in the fifth house for the revolution. So it's I'm really I'm really just very sick of just how unkind everything is, and I don't know, people not seeing each other is very weary. I think everyone is very weary and bitter at this time, just going through all this crap for so long, honestly. So, yeah, it's definitely annoying, but there will be different times to come, for sure. But I don't know. Another thing about the Saturn and Aquarius stuff is it's like, you know, the way everyone is just simulating having a life at this point and just ignoring that is very weird. And just everything that's going along with that, with the technology. But hardly are people having relationships at this time or community. At least in my life and what I've seen. I know a lot of that has to do with my personal chart, right? Which I could complain about as well, because I have planets at 12 degrees Leo, 2 planets, and all this stuff is really hitting my chart really, really a lot. So, I don't know. I'm very frustrated. I'm very angry. And it's a weird time. But anyway, I do have some other things that I wanted to mention too, but let's just start talking about this week now. Okay, so on Sunday, the moon goes into Aries, right? So we just had this. I know last week we didn't talk about the outer planets at all, but we're going to talk about them this week because they are more prominent. So we just on Saturday came off of that Mercury Uranus opposition, so things do get pretty unhinged with the way people are trying to do their business every day in general. That's the basic on that one. But on Sunday, the moon goes into Aries, and since Mars is in Scorpio, we have a lot that's ruled by Mars this week. So, because Mercury is also ruled by Mars, and when the moon is in Taurus, the moon will be at a trine to Venus, but also in an opposition to Mars. So, all throughout this week, the moon is afflicted by Mars in some way. So, I imagine this is not the most pleasant week, or there really isn't very much pleasant indicated by the astrology this week. Wednesday looks like, the moon is trine to Venus, which could be nice. And on Monday, the sun is square to Jupiter and the moon is square to Venus, which I don't think will feel all that great. So there's really not a lot towards, the simple good things of life, really, or the complicated good things of life either. But you know how it goes, that good things, at least once you start studying astrology, you really see that good things are very flowing and easy, and then they happen naturally as if it was always that way. But they that's really the short of it. Good things usually happen easily. Good things aren't really associated with a lot of effort and pain. For the most part, they are in life, definitely, but work and pleasure don't mix. Another thing we could say, but so we'll start here again on Monday. Wait, what happened? Oh, Sunday. So the moon is in Aries, and is void, of course, up until the morning, so kind of uncomfortable, weird morning. But once the moon goes into Aries, I think we are on a good track all day. I think we do get a lot done on Sunday, even though it's kind of all based on this Mars under the beams thing here. So Mars is still under the sunbeams, and he will be until the sun goes into Sagittarius, basically. And so Mars is doing a lot kind of behind the scenes that isn't quite visible. I think you're going to see a lot of the bad stuff that happened with the Mars-Saturn square really come out once the sun goes into Sagittarius, which is, I think, at the end of this week. So all this Mars stuff that happens with the moon, it's all still kind of behind the scenes, or it's like, the consequences of these actions might not come out until later, in a certain sense. In one way I could tie that up is with an example is in society there's an effect of people just hating each other and having no pity towards each other at all, for long periods of time. There are consequences for that, and I think we're going to see that come out with Mars once Mars comes out from under the sunbeams. And that's one example. It's just like being really shitty all the time. Even if you don't see the consequences of that, it's going to come up, right? So the moon is in Aries, connecting to the north and the south nodes. So the eclipse energy is also happening here. So as soon as the moon goes into Aries, we can really start to feel the energy of the eclipse coming out, or it's prominent, especially on Sunday. But as we get into Tuesday or Monday, the moon immediately makes a square to Venus, sextile to Saturn first after midnight, and then after mid-afternoon, the sun makes a square to Jupiter. So is that all? So the moon is connecting to Venus in Capricorn, so there's a way that we want to do things by the rules, but I also want you to understand that Venus this week goes into shadow on Thursday. So this is still pre-shadow Venus, so I think whatever things you do want to move ahead with here with Mars and Aries, you can do that here without it being a part of that story yet. but it will be later on in the week. Venus in Capricorn is, I don't know. I don't really want to talk about Venus in Capricorn, although I do like Venus in Capricorn. I think Venus and Saturn have a lot in common. So it's a good thing in a lot of ways. Venus is in a sextile to Mars, which is fine. It's better than a different configuration that we'll see later. So Venus really isn't in a bad condition herself right now, and we can probably, if you're up that late, you'll feel it, but honestly not really into the rest of the day. So most of the day the moon is just void. It's not really applying to anything except for Jupiter there, which won't be until the next morning. So all day after that, the moon is pretty much not doing anything. He's in Mars's house. And the sun is squaring Jupiter. So the sun in Scorpio isn't working very well. The sun is at a square to its own house. Not really favorable. Jupiter isn't in a great way in Aquarius. Jupiter in Aquarius is like, I was just thinking this, Obama is a Aquarius. I think he's an Aquarius rising. Correct me on that if I'm wrong, but he definitely has Jupiter in Aquarius, and his slogan was hope. Hope in a. I barely remember honestly Obama's presidency, but I remember the hope slogan and just the kind of energy around his whole campaign, and it sort of, I think it was during the 2008 crash. So I mean it was. A very bad situation that the world was going into, and he had some hope, and he wrote that book, The Audacity of Hope, which I think is very Jupiter in Aquarius, because if Jupiter is hope, and Jupiter is like hope in any circumstances really, but in the circumstances of Saturn and Aquarius, and Aquarius in general, Jupiter is hoping in a sort of hopeless place, so it's an audacious hope. But I think, that's what Jupiter's been doing really. But the sun there making a square to Jupiter, I don't really care for that. I don't think it's really good. I mean, I think that'll just make it extra tense with people throughout the day, I think. Whatever you're trying to do. Because Mars here is almost at that opposition to Uranus, so it's really easy to just suddenly do something at this time. So watch out what you choose on Monday. On Tuesday, the moon makes a sextile to Jupiter in the morning, which is nice. But it also makes a square to Pluto, which is not fun. And then is void of course after that. So the moon is pretty much void of course all day again. And the sun makes a sextile to Pluto, of course, because they're in this particular relationship. Pluto and Jupiter are about 30 degrees apart, so they're getting these aspects at the same time by the transiting planets. So yeah, Jupiter, Pluto. I mean, you can get you're gonna have to do. The thing is that you're gonna have to do the good things that you need to do, for your what's the word? The word that's coming to mind is substance, but that's not it. It's your doing the needful, whatever you have to do. It's going to be easier this time, but people will be kind of over anxious and intense at the same time on Tuesday, with the sun also connecting to the sextile to Pluto. It could be okay for getting a lot done. I think you can probably get some stuff done there at this Aries moon if you just put your energy there. Probably. So the moon goes into Taurus around 8 o'clock on Tuesday night, and immediately starts applying the square to Saturn. But before that happens, okay, so looks like Tuesday evening is pretty chill, honestly, pretty nice in a good way, not in the Saturn way, not in the Saturn chill way, but in the real way. But Mars makes an opposition to Uranus right before the moon squares Saturn, so definitely in the middle of the day, this will be really intense for a moment, for sure. We're really going to be feeling the structure, the system kind of bearing down on us a little bit, kind of bearing down on like what we would like to be doing or enjoying. But we're also doing what we want to do, it looks like. Or, I don't know. I'm not the one to tell you what Mars opposite Uranus is. Just saying. But it definitely happens on Wednesday. It's we definitely feel the restriction, but definitely in the beginning or like in the morning or like towards the evening, we're really more on the Mars-Uranus thing, right? Because the moon is on top of Uranus there while the moon is making the trine to Venus in Capricorn. So Venus in Capricorn has a certain flavor or way of doing things. So it's strange because we're really feeling the restrictive element, but we're also about to really do something different here in the afternoon as the moon opposes Mars. But it's not as though Mars and Uranus are on the same team or anything. It's just they're very closely configured here. So anyway, I'm not the one to tell you about that. On Thursday, so kind of towards the end of Wednesday, I think we really are in the mood to be enjoying doing something different. You know, Mars and Venus are in a sextile. They're working together. The moon is on top of Uranus as well. We really want something that's unconventional here, with the moon connecting to Venus, the moon receiving that overcoming trine from Venus as well. Venus isn't really afflicted here. Venus is in shadow here, or about to enter shadow. So whatever happens on Wednesday is really telling you something important about the Venus retrograde. It must be, because this is like the last taste of something old in a way, or like something, this is like, because this degree Venus isn't going to go back over quite, or she's going to reach right back to this degree. So very much telling you something about what you really want that isn't really, what you want isn't really getting everything that you want from this Saturn-Uranus thing, right? So you can definitely see the different elements on Wednesday of what this could be for you. Although, with Uranus involved, be open to what it actually looks like, for sure. Definitely. Okay, that's okay. On Thursday, Mercury makes a trine to Neptune. And the moon makes a sextile to Neptune. The moon makes an opposition to Mercury. And the moon applies to Jupiter in the evening, and the trine to Pluto, square to Jupiter, trine to Pluto. And this is the day before the lunar eclipse as well. And then we could say very early Friday morning, right after midnight, Venus will make the exact trine to Uranus. So, whoa. What is all that? That's so many pieces there. So right after the moon moves off of Uranus, because the Uranus and Neptune are in that they're in a pretty close sextile, really, but only 8 degrees off. So the moon immediately makes that trine to Neptune, or sextile to Neptune. in opposition to Mercury, because Mercury and Neptune perfect that trine in the morning. So, very easy day to be confused about things, I think, or to be getting perception, like other kinds of perceptions can come through to you more simply. You're laying on the couch and dreaming about all this stuff, thinking about all this stuff, imagining the best and the worst of things, if you will. Um, all the planets in this chart are making an aspect. So everything in this chart is doing something, which is would merit a longer analysis, I guess, to really know what this day is like. But Thursday, all the elements are there. All the elements we've really talked about are really there, except for it's like the other team, really, because we just had Mars, Saturn, Uranus with the moon. Now we have the others being first Neptune, I think, and then Mercury, and then the Sun, or then Jupiter, then Pluto, and then the Sun. So the moon, in a very short period of time, makes an aspect to all of the planets here, because they're in this one spot where they can do that. So a very dynamic day on Wednesday and Thursday, but they're very different. They really touch on different themes. On Thursday, it really is speaking more to the mercurial themes of communication, writing, business, traffic, are getting blurred up or otherwise obfuscated by Neptune. And the moon is kind of in that Neptune zone in Taurus. Probably kind of comfortable here. Pretty comfortable day, honestly. The moon's not applying to Mars. The moon is applying to Mercury and Jupiter. So, I mean, it's like you could get overly too comfortable, or you can't do the Saturn and Aquarius thing as easily, but you need to. So, but definitely be careful throughout the day, because the moon isn't really on Mercury's side here. They're kind of more of a day to take it easy and see what comes up. Don't really push yourself too hard here. Not on Wednesday either. But we are dealing with this sort of thing all week with Mars, really. So that day happens. Thursday happens. And then the lunar eclipse happens immediately. So it really leads right into the lunar eclipse. We didn't really mention Mercury or Venus trine Uranus, but I don't know. I don't know what that means. But the lunar eclipse happens right there. So the ruler of the lunar eclipse, Venus, is making a trine to Uranus, who's in the sign that the eclipse is in as well. So another thing that really is very important for the Venus retrograde comes up around here. It's in the middle of the night, but so is the lunar eclipse. But we'll really be feeling it on Thursday into the rest of Friday as well, because the moon will be continuing to apply to the North Node, really feeling really crazy, I think, on Friday. Really wanting to, and like Venus, the obvious read of Venus Uranus is like enjoying it differently, really. But the moon is in Gemini, transits into Gemini at 8:30, immediately applies to the North Node, and that's really it. So, I mean, maybe it's just like shock and awe kind of energy after all that. I mean, so much happens between, especially Wednesday and Thursday, where we're really just kind of like in the aftermath of it on Friday. The moon moving across the North Node, it's kind of overstimulating until it's, the balloon pops and it kind of deflates after that throughout the rest of the day. That's all I can really say, is we're really just reflecting maybe talking about, because it's Gemini, like communicating about everything that just happened, like really, really fluttery sort of communicative vibes that get kind of deflated throughout the day, but we still want to socialize and so on. So on Saturday, the moon makes a trine to Saturn. Let's advance the chart here. You can see the. So yeah, it really happens there. And then that. So the moon applies the trine to Saturn. Things kind of cool down in a way that's more easily workable. Just Saturn is satisfied with what needs to be done, the essence of things that needs to be done. So do that. Take care of what needs to be done. And the moon is pretty much not applying to anything all day after that, so I mean, probably still, because it's like coming right off of Saturn, a pretty decent day, I think, just for doing things. Mercury will be square to Jupiter, so I mean, it's not ideal for I mean, that's like a lot of transit, it looks like to me, or just like Saturn and Aquarius just needing, or Jupiter and Aquarius needing all these things to be done, to help just to find some good in this time, right? So Mercury in Scorpio squaring Jupiter. Honestly, I don't really have a read on that. I don't really know what that looks like. Yeah, I don't. They're not friends, Mercury and Jupiter, but Mercury is in Scorpio, where things are direct, they're blunt, they're to the point. That's really more emphasized. And Jupiter in Aquarius, finding some hope in a dark place. So those kind of communications are coming out at this time. So the moon is moving through Gemini. Mercury is moving pretty quick here. Venus is in they're in Capricorn, of course. They're in shadow. They're really in shadow now, so we're going to be coming back over this stuff again, right? So it looks like, things kind of came up to a culmination there on Wednesday and Thursday. And then we're in this space where, like, these things are going to change. These Venus things are going to change now. For sure. Because we're coming off the eclipse. It's still eclipse season now, so I mean, it's kind of wild energy. The moon is in Gemini, so it's very frantic. But I guess we'll save that. Wait, no. We'll save that for next week. Come back for next week. All right. So I hope you all are doing good. Not really a good time. I think it's an interesting week though. Like, a lot of interesting things happen. Just let go. You're not the master of your life at any time. So just believe in God as best you can. So yeah, a lot of squares this week. Lunar eclipse this week. Yeah, so thanks for watching my videos. Thanks for liking. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate you very much. And I'll see you next time. God bless you.